And we are live. What's up, guys? Sorry for the delay. Had some technical difficulties, just workshopping this thing still. So, oh man, this thing keeps getting deeper and deeper every day. So, I come across this video today of this guy who I'm going to show you in a second, former Green Beret, and he pretty much just destroyed what was said on Shawn Ryan show yesterday. I mean, some stuff I agree with, some stuff I don't agree with, but things definitely getting weirder. Definitely don't know anything about it yet. So I'm gonna kind of go through this video and see what you guys think and tell you what I agree with and what I disagree with. So this guy's name is let me see, I wrote it down. His name is Nate Cornchia, and he's a retired Green Beret, Special Forces, and 10 years in the military. It's pretty, I mean, I guess fast growing YouTube channel. He's almost at 100,000 in 1 year, but seems like a legit guy. So I'm going to show you what he says. Let me know what you think. I'm going to let you know what I think. And here we go.
And what a letdown. The email, and we're going to go through the email and give you guys context, because a lot of people on the internet, they have no idea what type of access and placement or access to information a Special Forces team sergeant would have. I know that's a fancy phrase that might seem like, like Pentagon level. Okay. They have no idea how strike targeting works in Afghanistan and how the supposed war crimes, like there's so much to this email that, again, I'm just going to go through it and pick it apart and explain it to you guys. And afterwards, I think you're going to understand too, of like, oof, probably should have done a little bit more back checking before we had that on the Shawn Ryan podcast, because as you guys have probably already seen, there's already Shawn's already getting hammered from other news outlets and YouTube channels today.
By the way, let me just say real quick, even if all this is completely wrong, like for what Shawn's doing and what the new media landscape is, I still think it's a win for Shawn. I mean, like he's kind of like I don't know, like I guess comparatively boring speaker compared to a lot of people on the internet, but is massively fast growing channel, like one of the biggest podcasts on Spotify consistently. And like just the fact that everybody in the world was speaking about him yesterday, that's a win in the world of media.
For basically lying or helping spread and enable misinformation. Okay, I don't think that's necessarily what he meant to do, but this doesn't look good at all. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to jump right into the email. We're going to go through it line by line and explain to you why this email is this manifesto is shoddy at best. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's check out the email.
No one seems to know this, but Amazon actually has a $50 million fund.
I'll add there
that they have to.
Well, let me download this video. Just 1 second. Yeah, I use this YouTube downloader, and some doesn't always let me download it. So that's what we have going on here. That's why we're watching on YouTube instead of the old downloaded version.
All right, I'm not going to read the whole thing, guys, but I'm going to go through the parts that is immediately jumped out to me as not credible, and I'm going to explain to you why. Okay, so initially he talks about how he's headed to the Mexican border, try to evade all these different things. All right, so the first thing we get to for me went, okay, this is a silly email, was right here at the start, where he says, what we have been seeing with drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and East Coast, but throughout history of the U.S. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. Okay, right out the gate, big problem. Matt Livelsberger is an active duty 18 Zulu intense special forces group. So you guys understand this. A Special Forces ODA, Operational Detachment Alpha, works at the tactical level, not even operational, nowhere near the strategic level. Now you're talking about Pentagon level basement things. A 18 Zulu, a master sergeant on a Special Forces ODA, has no access to information of gravitic propulsion systems.
Yeah, see, so that one's not really doing it for me, because just because he, like, on paper he doesn't have access to that information, like, I mean, I think that's a pretty easy thing to figure out, that there's this technology out there that nobody knows, that they don't acknowledge, and that could be being used for the drones. Like, I mean, I don't think it would take a lot for somebody that has his means capabilities to like identify what the drones are that they're acting like that we have no idea about. But with that said, like the two main things with this thing, with what the email said that the guy was worried about was the 2019 Afghanistan, attacks on the buildings, and then this drone thing. And like, yeah, I don't know. Sure, you could say those are both concerning things, but as like the thing that they're citing for like the potential for world war or whatever, or like his big concern, like that was sitting a little bit weird with me. So like, I don't necessarily agree with this guy that like he wouldn't have the means to know about that information, but I also don't think that that's like a believable reason for him to go and like, blow up this car in front of the building.
Anything in this type of nature. So this tells me immediately, none of this information that he's talking about here did he get through official military channels, because he 100% chance does not have anywhere the access and placement to information.
Watch on 2x speed. Put the number one if you want me to put on 2x speed. Right now it's on 1.65. I don't know if everybody can handle 2x speed, but Like, let's get the consensus in here. What speed you guys want? So on 165 right now. Let me know if you could handle that or if you want it faster.
To know anything about this. And Intense Special Forces Group, nothing. Okay, so the second I saw this, you know what it sounded like to me, because I actually personally like this type of stuff, is what he's explaining here is essentially just the story of Bob Lazar talking about element 115 in gravitic propulsion systems that they found in alien aircraft. This is on Joe Rogan's podcast. Okay, this isn't crazy secret information. Okay, so that right away should tell you the credibility of this email. From if Matt really sent this, again, he would have a base level understanding of drones at best. None of this is credible. Zero. Okay, no discussion, no argument. Maybe he got this through some back channels of conspiracy theory websites, whatever, but official military channels, 0% chance. Okay, that was the first huge red flag to me. Okay, next one. We're moving down here where it says, I've been followed for over a week now, and likely from Homeland or the FBI, and they're looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bed. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. So he says he's got a massive V-bed rigged. Okay, again, this is supposedly, and we're going to get into, I think there's two potential options of what this email is. I'll explain here in a second. This massive V-bed that he supposedly had, we know is a Cybertruck with some fireworks and a gas tank in the back. That is not a massive V-bed that would be set up by a Green Beret ready to light off to potentially kill people trying to take him. That is obnoxiously silly, which rings to me of, I'll get to this. Why don't we jump into it? I think there's two potential things with this email, and I don't think there's any more than that. One is Matt actually wrote this email and was under a severe psychotic break due to probably conspiratorial thinking and that type of stuff based off of what he's talking about with these drones and these gravitic propulsion systems that, again, he would have no access or information to.
But that's not a psychotic break, though. Like, with the way that he wrote it, like, I mean, like, that'd be saying that, like, we're all under a psychotic break, but for being, like, frustrated with the state of the country. Like, you know, if the thing that he wrote yesterday is true, like saying that the national decay and everything, like, that's something that, like, everybody get, but that's like a political speech, what he said, basically. So I don't think you could say that he's under a psychological break for his opinions that were in that letter that he wrote. But I mean, yeah, obviously going through it with, like, blowing up something in front of a building, yeah, that's like an escalation. But that's confusing part, because, like, I always look at MK Ultra with stuff like this, but part of me wonders if this guy's just trying to make a splashy statement, like, and he wouldn't be any better than, like, Shawn Ryan if he's doing that, like, if he's just trying to be controversial here.
Or this email is not written by Matt, which also makes a lot more sense, because when we start talking about this massive V-bed that he has, if this was someone who didn't know anything about explosives or how to rig a vehicle, you might say something like that, and that's how you would set up this Tesla. So that is very red flaggish in that line too. Also, I don't know why these things weren't noticed by Shawn Ryan's team before they aired this. The next one we're going to get into, and this is really important, and I'm sure probably none of you have had anybody dive into this because they just assumed this guy's exposing war crimes. Huge problem with the story. If, again, you know how strike targeting worked in Afghanistan and Iraq in 2019, which I do because I was there in 2018 and we had to develop strikes all the time. So what he says here is that he was part of a program that covered up a bunch of war crimes in Afghanistan in 2019. Okay, at this point, the war was pretty much died down and over in 2019, by the way, by the DOD, the DEA, and the CIA. So you start just name dropping all the big agencies.
So this part, I think that this might be controversial, but I think that so he's about to talk about the 2019 bombing of the several buildings that this guy Matt talked about. So, whenever I talk to people who are in the military, like, I wasn't in the military, obviously, but when I talk to people in the military, a lot of them seem like, I don't know, kind of like they're just really drinking the Kool-Aid and kind of believe in the system. Not all of them are like that, but, like, a lot of them are really hesitant to, like, think that there's anything past what they see from the day to day, because, like, what he's about to say here, I don't agree with this part.
These all collaboratively together covered this thing up when it's not that big of a, first of all, strike to begin with. Okay, so I conducted targeting for these strikes for over 125 buildings. Guys, let me tell you how hard it is to strike one building in Afghanistan or Iraq in 2019. You have to have, at minimum, a 2-star level general approval to strike a building in Afghanistan. In Iraq, I believe at the time it was a 3-star. That is basically the head officer in charge of the siege of Afghanistan. Now, why does this become a problem? Well, supposedly they struck 125 buildings. First of all, that would be a huge story to begin with. Like, what in 2019 did we need to be striking those 125 buildings? We would strike individual buildings when we were doing big point target hits to go in and take actual, like, JPITL targets that we were going after, maybe one DFB. 125 buildings and killed hundreds of civcas. Here's the other problem. This all works in, like, the jock of the siege of Soda. There is 40 to 50 people involved in this process, all watching this happen. And what you're going to tell me is that there's just a rogue 2-star general that is just blessing off, drop on 125 buildings, kill everybody indiscriminately. That's all recorded. Okay, they make it seem like this is some back alley process where a bunch of war crimes take place and, like, they just covered it up with some dirt. Anybody who's worked at a SOTF, CJSOTF, and the Jock will tell you this story is dumb. It's absolutely dumb.
The two most common problems.
All right, well, we have this ad break. So yeah, he's saying that basically it's not realistic that main buildings were bombed because there's like an official process that has to happen and everything. But I mean, I see somebody in the chat saying that let's see who we got here. So Crypto Carpenter says, I was in the military. I will never drink the Kool-Aid. Most military friends are the same, or at least the ones I haven't informed. Yeah, no, totally. I think a lot of them know exactly what's going on, but like a lot of the ones I speak to, it's almost like they like the reality they perceive is like what they see in front of them in terms of like the processes and everything. So like this guy's saying there's like a formal process that has to take place to like do that type of airstrike or to bomb buildings and everything. But the thing with Afghanistan is that like this is kind of getting into the whole drug aspect of it. Like I just think Afghanistan's like a cesspool for shady things that happen with like our military, like the incentives to be there and like the amount of drugs that come from there. Like I have no idea what was going on with this exact situation, but like, I do know that like 90% of the opiates in the world come from Afghanistan, and I'm pretty sure that's a big reason why we're there because a lot of people say that the wealthiest people in the world like depend on drug money, and that they basically use the U.S. military and like other large militaries in the world to as like their private army to extract drugs from these like large drug producing countries, and then the rest is history. So I don't think that like very many people at all in the military are like cued in on that. So I think that things could happen without somebody like this guy knowing about it, even if he was there. What do you guys think about that? Like basically like we're talking about the concept of compartmentalization here.
Times throughout the global war on terror where we have indiscriminately bombed buildings. Hell yeah, the first 10 years of the war, which was basically bomb anything with four corners. Sure. But this is Afghanistan in 2019. This shit did not happen.
Exactly. We probably don't.
I'm sorry. You want to be a conspiracy theory about it. But when you understand how hard it is to get a strike on a building, any SF dude that was in Afghanistan 2016, 17, 18, 19 will tell you, nobody is just bombing 125 buildings indiscriminately. It's not a thing. Okay. So again, Shawn's team.
But do those guys know everything that happens there? I don't think so. Like even high level people in like even the director of the CIA doesn't know everything that's happening in the CIA. So I don't think that even if you have like a high level prestigious position in the military, I don't think that you know everything that's happening in the military.
You guys are pretty tied into the military and how all the target processing works. How did you not see that and immediately go, what is this? Not good. Okay. Now, again, and then some of these phrasings, right, are so inflammatory and theatrical right below this. You need to elevate this in the media so we can avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. Okay, guy. Sorry, guys. Like, I know this isn't like everybody wants the big conspiracy. Everybody wants to think this is breaking. This manifesto is, again, two things: a psychotic break or somebody fishing and full of bullshit. Sorry, guys. I know there's gonna be a lot of people in the comment section. You don't know this. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. I know what type of access to information a master sergeant has. Okay. And I know how strike targeting works, right, in Afghanistan. And I know how a VBED would actually be read by Green Beret. This is all silly. This whole email is silly. Okay. I'll just say it there. Now, this episode gets even less credibility when Sam gives his theory about how Matt Livelsberger pulled this truck bombing off. So that's what we're gonna watch next. All right, we're not gonna watch the whole thing. It's like a 2-minute spiel about his theory about how he pulled this off. He's talking about initially here a Signal cell phone account. Don't worry about that. We're gonna get into talking about how he pulled this bombing actually off and why this was not well done.
People conjecture was the FBI inside a Signal account, whatever else. But what if he accidentally changed his safety number, goofed up there? He rolled the body up in a Tesla specifically because the Tesla can drive itself up to the tower and did what he did to send a message to expose his stuff. And he's still alive out there somewhere.
Okay. You guys know that that's not how a rented Tesla Cybertruck works, right? You guys know Teslas
This is a good point,
full
actually.
autonomous driving to where you can just put a body in a car, plug in a GPS, and it'll drive its way through town on its own to the front of the hotel and blow itself up. That's not how FSD works, okay? If you own a Tesla, you know that, yes, there is autopilot, yes, there is FSD, but it still requires input from the driver. You can't just set it. Now, Tesla's obviously working on that technology, but a rented Cybertruck from a rental car business, no, that Cybertruck does not have full autonomous driving that you can put a dead body in the front of the car and drive it through town on its own to the front of a hotel. It doesn't. What are we doing here? This isn't like high-tech information. Tesla will tell you that, right? You guys know that. What are we doing here? So what is this theory? Right? So this is the type of, like, this ruined.
So that part, I didn't even think about that. So like you probably can't have a Tesla drive just a dead body up there and do it that way, which is like, I guess the fact that this guy was like alleging that on Shawn Ryan's show, I mean, like I was thinking of him as like a reliable intel source, but when you kind of point that out, it brings some other things into question. And speaking of that, like did you guys see how Shawn Ryan like went into hiding after this? So like the fact that he felt he had to go into hiding, like now it feels like he maybe hit a nerve.
Your credibility when you start saying things like this on top of this silly email. All right. So again, I kind of gave my conclusions to what I think is going on sort of in the middle of that. But again, I'll kind of dive into a little bit deeper. Okay, right. So two possibilities here. Matt Livelsberger's got a psychotic break. I think this is very, very, very likely. That was the second, and this isn't just me. I had probably 10 teammates who saw that email, and they all had the same reaction. This guy's going through some type of psychosis, some type of psychotic break, spurred on by probably a lot of delving into conspiracy theories. Okay.
So I'm gonna jump to this part.
So the question is like, did Shawn do this on purpose? Is he trying to enable misinformation? No, I don't think so.
This is like probably maybe like the most valid question I heard this guy ask, and then this can create like a bigger conversation on whether or not this is like 4D chess or just a oversight, or if this guy is wrong. We disagree with him.
I think he got tricked into thinking this was breaking, and they didn't do a very good job of like taking tactical patience, saying, hey, let's go through this like I just did. Does this actually make sense? Because they would have gone, ooh, yeah, there's no way this is real. All right. So I don't think that. I think that's probably they just got excited. They wanted to break the story because it was so crazy. Made a whoopsie. Now, let's get into some actual conspiracy, right? Of potentially what could be going on. Because a lot of people are saying, what's the why here? Like, what is the end goal? What's the end state? Nobody can figure it out. Well, we've got a theory. And it ties into Shawn Ryan being exposed to all this horrible misinformation that he put out on his channel. It's a stretch. Right now, the legacy mainstream media is failing. CNN is going bankrupt. MSNBC is going bankrupt. The Trump administration has just come out and said that they're talking about not allowing legacy media into White House press conferences. That would pretty much gut out the rest of the system. Mainstream media is dead. Who takes the mantle? Big podcasters like Shawn Ryan, Joe Rogan. Well, how do you discredit someone like Shawn Ryan from being an official source of news? You get him to buy in and put out a crazy conspiracy theory manifesto email that turns out to be total bullshit. And then you as a legacy media can all point and say, see, you can't trust Shawn Ryan. You can't trust.
So that's essentially it. So this guy saying that he thinks it could be like effort from mainstream media or somebody to try to discredit people like Shawn Ryan, Joe Rogan, Valuetainment, whoever. And we actually asked our IT guy to scrape our emails and see if this guy reached out to us, because it sounds like he did reach out to all the big mainstream media sites. So let's see what we got going on in the chat here. Like here, how about this? Hit a 1 if you agree, or if you think that Shawn Ryan and the guy were pretty close to the truth with what they were saying yesterday. Hit number 2 if you think that they got played, or if they were wrong, or like if you agree with this guy more. Basically, like you get the point. 1 for Shawn Ryan, 2 for the guy that I just showed you in terms of who you agree with more. Because I think that I don't know, this one's foggy. Like I don't think that the 2 reasons that they gave, like the Chinese drones, which we don't even know if they're Chinese, and then the 2019 thing, like I think that's like a little bit of a weird thing for the guy to go blow up a building for. But at the same time, okay, got a lot of ones here. All right, so you guys are all on board Shawn Ryan. Got it. So who thinks this guy is still alive? Like hit number 1 if you think he's still alive. Court, you got questions. What questions? Because yeah, I got questions too. And they both have holes, yeah. No, I mean I think what happened is that like we've been seeing these videos from people like the last 4 years come across the border, say like, oh, you guys have no idea what's coming. You guys have no idea what's coming. And then like I think what happened after the election was that people like Obama, the Soros crew, actually a crew that we're going to be speaking of later. So like it really reminiscent of or reflective of the people who were the Medal of Freedom Award winners. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but like people in that circle, like the DC swamp creatures, like I think they all met after the election and said like, okay, like how are we going to just create a disaster situation that like we could at least hide in the fallout from, or we could at least like take some attention off of us. Because right after this election happens, like we escalate tensions with Russia, we start giving more money to Ukraine, we give them more rights to be more aggressive with Russia, and then these terrorist things start popping off. So, and then just like yesterday, there's like a shooting in DC, and then the day after this Tesla thing in front of the Trump building, there was like a big shooting in New York that like nobody's talking about, and then you get the people getting lit on fire in the subways. I wonder how like potent the like if there's like a way for them to do the MK Ultra thing that like without directly having to be face to face with somebody, like if they could just like, you know, activate random people. Let's see, I'm gonna check out the comments. What about the no heat signature from the Yeah, I did hear about that. The no heat signature. Are you talking about how it didn't look like the guy like shot off a gun in the car? Because here, what we got here? What about the no heat signature from the Eagle shot? Are you talking about that he didn't like it didn't look like he shot himself in the car? Because yeah, I wanted to look into that one too, because that would be tough to explain. Hmm. Yeah, I have to look into that one more. So I don't think we know shit about this yet. I I don't know. Like I think that like I think they're just trying to confuse us, honestly. I mean, they're trying to confuse us because I think that this one and the other one, like both look like they could have been MK Ultra things, like the New Orleans thing. I think that that dude was totally played. I think that that house that I showed you guys the other day, like that everybody probably saw by now, where the like news crews just randomly let into his house. I think that was like that's like nothing that we've seen before. Like, why haven't we seen the house yet that they're talking about from like the Trump attempted assassin? Like that kid's house, they said didn't even have silverware in it. So like, why couldn't we go look inside that house? But then we like one day later we get to look inside the house of this terrorist who did the New Orleans thing, and then like we know their names and we know like where they live. Like the military showing up at their house that same day, but then like the Trump thing just floated on away. So I think I don't know, like they're trying to confuse us, make us fight. Like I think the H1B thing, I think was a psyop. I know like there's differences of opinion with that, but I think that like that might have been a super sophisticated bot farm thing because what we got here. Saw a video supposedly it was moving seconds before the blast, no gunshot blast. Why different emails, strange, and need more character witnesses come forward. Yeah, I mean, like, why don't we even have a video of him pulling up to the place? Like, why is it just that one video of the thing exploding? Like, like whenever simple questions like that can't be answered, that's when I go into conspiracy mode. Greg M, damn right, they're confusing most Americans, short attention spans. This is all BS, red flag, effed up criminal. Yep, agreed. Funny thing, yeah, I know. I thought the same thing. There's a perfect military ID that didn't burn. Just saw, yeah, just like how 9/11. There's perfect passports laying around. Yeah, no, 100%. It's like they have the same playbook. Crypto Carpenter, I'm telling you, an operator wouldn't blow up a vehicle and commit suicide. If they're going off the rail, they would just send a real message. These people are business owners, most intelligently. Both guys could be giving Seb Murdoch says both guys could be giving false info. Both situations happen really fast before most had a chance to form an opinion. This could be create a split in the community. Yeah, I mean, like if you're trying to hide some dirty, sick, twisted shit, like I think, yeah, like the best thing to do is make people fight, make them confused, and like the H1B visa thing made us fight, and then this stuff's making us confused. I mean, one thing's for sure. I think that everybody who has the means and capability to be strapped should be strapped all the time. Like I'm not leaving the house without my piece. Hell no. This is how they work. Create all the chaos and distractions prior to a bigger event. We just gotta be vigilant. Yeah, I know. And then I mean, so Alex Jones is all in. I was watching some of how he was processing this the other day, and he's saying that he thinks that the drones could have the capability to do something on Inauguration Day. I hope that's not true, because like I mean, shit, like if they could do that, then we have bigger problems. I mean, have they said anything about the drones lately? Let's do a quick Google search and see just like what comes up if we type in the drone thing. Anybody still following the drone situation? And I mean, I talk about this a lot, but that's one of the most concerning things is that like how fast we could drop a story that we like don't demand the answer from the story from the press and they don't feel like they need to do it. Let's see. 2 days ago, drones banned in New Jersey towns by FAA. Updated list. 9 explanations for drone sightings over New Jersey, ranked from most to least likely by popular mechanics. Let's take a look at this. Oh, you have to fucking pay for it? What? Get out of here. New Jersey drone mystery sees craft behind 30 areas as national security threat fears grow. You know, let's see what they're saying about Shawn Ryan. Ooh, Newsweek podcaster disappearing after Matthew Livelsberger alleged manifesto shown. Geez, this will be annoying to read. We have to hate read it. Let's see. Podcaster Shawn Ryan of the Shawn Ryan Show on YouTube announced that he would be disappearing for a few days before publish a new episode about the Tesla Cybertruck bomber alleged manifesto. Why it matters. Yep, Livelsberger drove Cybertruck, blah, blah, blah. President-elect Donald Trump, Vegas. Investigators have worked to establish a motive for the attack, but Ryan has potentially added a major development to the hunt, thanks to a break from Sam Shoemate, an intelligence analyst who said received an email from Livelsberg, alleged manifesto, blah, blah, blah. Is that it? What to know, blah, blah, blah. They say anything interesting here? Half an hour after the release of the episode, Ryan's account posted screenshot. Okay, we got that. What are people saying? Shoemate wrote on X, it's been a long day, and at this point, this post is infinitely less humorous and light. Yeah, we know about that. Any new information? Yeah, like I mean, that's the annoying part about this. It's that like nothing super new or useful is really coming out yet. But something I did see today that was kind of funny. Watch. Let me check the chat quick. I'm going to show you this funny thing that I saw. What the fluff says, some of the drones are military, others are probably foreign. Orbs are watchers. Yeah, no, I mean, I keep telling you guys, like, you got to watch the Lost Century on Amazon Prime by Dr. Stephen Greer, or go on PBD podcast and watch the Stephen Greer episode. Phenomenal. And like that really helps you understand like a lot of the missing pieces. Let's see. Both cases solved overnight. Yeah, BS. I know. I don't believe a thing. Greg M says that's happening at this point. I mean, I believe it's all fake. This is exactly what the criminals want. Everyone occupied. Big, huge news BS. I know. I agree. Nick Detterman. There were other people who contacted by this guy with proof before he carried out the explosion. Yeah, true. That's a good point. I heard Tim Pool saying that it was planned exercise and that the public were notified months in advance. Oh yeah, you know, and I heard Shawn Ryan saying at the end of the episode yesterday that like they were going around to local police departments that like the intel agencies were or something and like warning them that stuff like this was going to happen, and then the local agencies were like requesting training for it, but they were denied training. So go figure. Jeff Blazer says, how out of the question is it a car runs off computers can be hacked? It's a great point. That is a great point. But unless Elon's in on it, I think that he would, well, counter argument. So yeah, Elon would know if it was hacked, but would he want us to know about it if it was hacked? Because that'd be bad PR for the Cybertruck if it could just be hacked and, you could lose control of it, because they could also lock you in those cars. That's a freaky thing too that I heard from somebody, that like when it's updating, you could get locked in the car. Buck Bob, shit's about to get real quick. Oh, I know. Sasquatch says, my sister has a video from Atlanta from the drones. They're in Atlanta now? Jeez. Some of the drones are our military. Others, yeah, I know. So let me show you this. Let me show you what Anthony Blinken said today, which, oh man, this guy's already on my like top 5 most disliked people. But before I show you the list of Medal of Freedom winners, let me show you what Anthony Blinken said today about nuclear war. Oh man. Where did this article go? One second. So this headline says, China told Putin not to use nuclear weapons, according to Anthony Blinken. One second. Share screen. China told Putin not to use nuclear weapons, says Anthony Blinken. From Newsweek, Russia had seriously considered using nuclear weapons in Ukraine, but was dissuaded from doing so by China, says U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Amid repeated nuclear threats from Moscow, Washington's top diplomat told the Financial Times that Beijing had ended or had engaged in Russia and said, don't go there. Come on. It's the start of blah, blah, blah. Blinken was asked by Financial Times how serious Washington took Putin's nuclear sabering rattling, which was considered a reason why the U.S. did not provide Ukraine with certain long-range weapons over the war for fear of escalation. But they just did. Blinken told newspapers that Washington was very concerned about the prospect Putin would use nuclear weapons, and that even if the probability went from 5% to 15%, or even if the probability went from 5 to 15% when it comes to nuclear weapons, nothing is more serious. Then why are you provoking him, dude? Like Blinken's entire career could be summarized by provoking Russia. We've talked about that length in the past, so I don't need to get into it. But Blinken has been a career Russia provoker since he was part of the Bill Clinton administration. We have reason to believe that China engaged Russia. Said, don't go there. He said the article published on Friday said that Blinken believed a similar dynamic was at play when the U.S. told China that the Russian president was planning to put a nuclear weapon in space. Blinken said that Putin had suffered a strategic defeat with NATO, bigger than ever since its invasion, and its members spending more on helping Ukraine. I don't think anyone can complain that they haven't done their fair share, he said. Blinken also rejected criticism that Biden administration had delayed providing weapons, saying issues such as whether Kyiv can operate and maintain systems factoring decision-making, blah, blah, blah. So the point of this, is like to, I guess, show that like the majority of what they say is nonsense, because like he's the reason that Russia's pissed off right now. Like if you haven't seen what I've talked about in the past, like Blinken, Sullivan, Clinton, John Brennan, like there's like this whole clique of people who have it like in their head that like Assad had to go, that Putin has to go. Like they were the group that got Gaddafi out. Like they're and the real question you have to ask yourself is like, do they think that they're making smart decisions, or are they trying to create conditions where they're like justified and like doing certain things in the Middle East, or like is this part of that whole globalist thing where they're trying to like create chaos so that like they could justify like the stuff towards the globalist thing that they want to do? Bob Buck, thank you for reminding the crew to give me a like. Please like and subscribe. Just hit 100,000. By the way, no big deal. Now we have to hit a mill. And yeah, I made the promise to stream every night, at least for 1 hour, going forward for the foreseeable future. Because why wouldn't I? You know, we're trying to build a sick community here where just like rapid fire, get the most important stuff out every day. And right now I'm streaming out my apartment because we're building a new 6 studio at Valuetainment. We just like got a ton of property, and we're building like sets and studios in one of the new buildings we have. And my set's under construction. So for the foreseeable future, I am in my apartment right now, but that's fine. Bob Buck, you're the man. Thank you so much for that super chat. I will not forget about that. And let me know if any. Oh yeah, I definitely will keep doing these. It's a lot of fun. And you know, it's really about just like I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it, because you know, like not that I have like a ton of like weaknesses or complaints or anything with like putting content together, but like one thing that I'm trying to get sharper at is like I have like so many things I want to talk about that I'm trying to like really narrow it down. Like, okay, I'm gonna talk about these 3 things tonight, these 5 things tonight, and then there's the evergreen stuff that like I have this crazy episode written out like that we're just gonna do live one day, because I like the idea of like doing an interactive episode about like a crazy topic that nobody's talked about before. Which like I have a conspiracy topic that nobody's talked about before. Don't see it anywhere when I try to look it up. Like it's all like research based on CIA documents and shit like that. But the news cycle has been so crazy this past week that I haven't been able to get to it. But like that's the type of stuff we're gonna get to in the future. And you know, maybe like that's really it. It's just like determining like the right mix to do between those 2 things. But you know, like that's like the nice part about doing it every day. Like we're gonna feel that out and get the right feel for it. Oh, and question for you guys. So, what do you think about? So, if I call this thing Brandon Aceto Podcast, what do you think about calling it just BAP? Is that catchy? Is that stupid? Is it so catchy and stupid that it could work? I don't know. Give me a 1 if you like BAP. Give me a 2 if you don't like BAP. Like, go and watch the BAP later. No. Okay, that was a fast no. No. Okay, there's a 1 who said don't do it. No, don't do it. All right. The no's are winning right now. Biden killed Brandon. Oh, you're funny. Speaking of Biden, so one thing that I'm gonna hit quick before we wrap up tonight is Biden's Medal of Freedom list. So this thing cracked me up. So here, I'm just gonna pull it up. So if you don't know what the Medal of Freedom is, the Medal of Freedom is the it's pretty much awarded to individuals who like did something for society, but like made like an especially large impact to society. Like people who are like, wow, you made the world a better place. You know, it was created by I guess technically President Truman, but then kind of revised by JFK. So here are this year's recipients of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. All right. Drum roll. Jose Andres. Aside from his fame as a celebrity chef, Andreas' philanthropy work became highly visible element of the war in Gaza during Mr. Biden's presidency. Okay. He brought food into the region. Okay, I could see that. But there are 18 nominees. So that one, okay, fine. I could see that. But Bono, why Bono? So the lead singer of U2, but he's just a friend of Biden's. Then Hillary Clinton. So like what? I mean, is this for her notable work in Benghazi or Whitewater or what she did for the Vince Foster family or what she did for the nice people in Libya and Gaddafi? What's the criteria for Hillary Clinton here? Michael J. Fox, known for his role in Back to the Future, diagnosed Parkinson's. I mean, so that's a random one. Biden. Why Michael J. Fox? Tim Gill. Why Tim Gill? So let's see. After funding the tech company Quark, which produced novel layout and design software through 1980s and 1990s, Mr. Gill sold his stake to concentrate on charity work aimed at LGBTQ rights. Now, there it is. There it is. His foundation has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in campaigns to shift policy on issues such as marriage equity and bullying in schools. Yep, there it is. Well, schools are a disaster, buddy. Jane Goodell, the scientist and activist who turned 90 this year, I think she was on the cover of this article, is known for her breakthrough work in the study of primates and human evolution. Oh, she speaks at Davos. I heard her speak before. Yeah. Yep. This sounds like somebody who would be nominated for this. If you're at Davos and do weird shit, then you're a front runner for this. Fannie Lou Hammer, Miss Hammer, a civil rights activist and the co-founder of Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, fought for an equal representation in politics after being born into sharecropping in the Jim Crow era. Okay. Magic Johnson? Why Magic Johnson? And I think this posthumous thing means that they gave it to like so like I don't think this doesn't mean RFK Jr. So see his son RFK has embraced the GOP and President-elect Trump. So it's talking about RFK's father here. Okay, I'm on board with that one. Ralph Lauren, whose clothes have been a favorite of Jill Biden throughout her time as first lady. I wonder if there's a little trade-off there. Like Jill gets a little gift card action if Ralph Lauren gets a little Medal of Freedom action. Bill Nye, the fake science guy, implanted in the psyche of millions of children through his role as the host of Bill Nye the Science Guy, and reemerged after the show ended in 1990 as a popular personality on TikTok and climate policy advocate. Hey, Bill, why don't you look up something called the Invention Secrecy Act, and it'll show you how we could fix climate change in 2 seconds if they actually wanted to, but instead they want to extract trillions of dollars from the population over the course of 50 years. So I don't know if you know this or you're in on it, like Mr. What's his name? John Kerry and the other guy who ran against Bush. What the hell's his name? There's John Kerry and there's Al Gore. John Kerry and Al Gore are like the biggest beneficiaries of people like Bill Nye do. George W. Romney, posthumous, former chairman of American Motor Corporation, Mr. Romney. Oh, it's just fucking Mitt Romney's father. That piece of shit. Later served as a 3-term governor of Michigan and President Richard Nixon's housing secretary. Oh, yeah, because that one's so great. That's like that's actually literally when the housing situation went into disaster mode, because like the 70s were the last time that we had enough homes being built per year. And then after the 70s, I guess after this guy took over, fell off a cliff. David M. Rubenstein, the billionaire co-founder of Carlyle Group, donated Yeah, okay, that one's fine. Then George Soros. Here's where we're getting interesting. So George Soros is given again the definition of this: the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Its purpose is awarded to individuals who have made especially meritorious contribution to the security or national interest of the United States, world peace, or cultural or other significant public or private endeavors. So, I mean, who better for that than George Soros, obviously? So let's see what the New York Times says about George Soros, an ally of Mr. Biden, a fierce supporter of liberal causes. Mr. Soros is among several prominent Democratic figures to receive the award during Mr. Biden's presidency. A billionaire and Democrat mega donor, Mr. Soros has become a polarizing figure in American politics, often vilified by conservative commentators. Yeah, I mean, totally unfairly vilified by conservative commentators. Like, what does he do? He subsidizes anarchy, like the college protests. He funds district attorneys who are not only light on crime, but like ignore and support and help people who commit crimes, like California. What's going on there with like the you could steal things that are under $1,000. That's a Soros attorney. Like New York, people getting lit on fire. That's a Soros attorney. So, in case you don't know what George Soros wants, George Soros, his whole big thing, he wants an open society, which means like, one world government. So, in order to do that, you have to like weaken and like erase the national identity of America to the point where like that's actually possible to do. Because like right now, America's too strong and too like nationalist and independent minded to have like a one world government. Because if you get like a nationalist president running America like we do right now, or like we did under Trump before, then that pulls away from the one world, like the momentum towards the one world system. So that's why he's trying to like weaken the national identity of America. But some people see it differently. And it's just a coincidence that's people that get a shit ton of money from him. But now we have our own George Soros with Musk, so could be happy about that. George Stevens Jr. Mr. Stevens is a filmmaker, a producer, and the founder of American Film Institute at the Kennedy Center. His writings and producing credits include 1998 film The Thin Red Line and a play about the life of Thurgood Marshall outside of film and stage. His work is focused on preserving American cinematic heritage. Oh, that's a nice thought. But if you wanted to preserve American cinematic heritage, how about we stop with all the like forced tranny and diversity shit in the Hollywood stuff? Like, there's literally a tax credit in Hollywood where you have to have a certain amount of tranny people, black people, gay people, disabilities, and this and that to be eligible for an Oscar. How about we freaking smash all of that and get rid of it and incentivize people to like make original cool movies again? Like, every movie is either like a virtue signaling movie or it's like a remake of something that's already been made. It's like slightly more virtue signaling. But that's why we're building our own Hollywood in Florida with Valuetainment. And if you don't know how Hollywood was created in the first place, like, it's kind of sad. Like, Hollywood started because New Jersey, I guess, was where movies were made at first, and like the Edison company was censoring everybody, and people just want to make cool movies. They wanted to go somewhere where they weren't going to be like obstructed by the censorship regime. So they flee to California, to Hollywood specifically, and start making sick movies. But now like it's gone full circle to where they're the ones who ran away from censorship are becoming the censors, and now that's why a lot of people are making movies in Georgia, and I'm sure it's eventually going to move to Florida because Florida's a much cooler place than Georgia. Denzel. All right, let's see. Why did Denzel win this award? Yeah, we know actor, blah, blah, blah. Great actor. He only has one character, but he's a great actor at that one character. Like, he's the same exact person in every movie, but why? Mr. Washington was selected by Biden to receive the award in 2022, but missed the ceremony. I mean, is this just like being friends with the guy thing? I don't know. I don't know how they make these selections. Anna Wintour. Miss Wintour is the editor-in-chief of Vogue, a position she has held since 1988. Wow, that's like the Devil Meets Prada, or the Devil Wears Prada lady. A key fundraiser at the center of the Democrats' celebrity circles, and she has also served as the chairwoman at the annual Met Gala. Oh, let's see what this lady looks like. She must look so snobby. Oh yeah. I'm gonna show you what she looks like real quick. So that's her. Yep, that's exactly what I would imagine her looking like. Back to it. Then we had Messi, the Argentinian soccer player, wins the American Medal of Freedom. So I don't know. I'm not fired up by that. I think it's like just like funny, if anything. Like it's like the anti-American freedom. No, literally like the like people who are against freedom in America. That's who won the awards. Denzel's very disappointing. I know. I know. Well, you know, it's funny you say about the Gladiator 2 thing, because like I almost wonder if that's why I was like he was thrown in there, because like I didn't watch Gladiator 2 because I was just like afraid of how virtual signaling it's gonna be, but like I heard he's like I don't know, a slave owner in the movie, and then he like sets them free or something. It's like, okay, give me a break. Denzel Washington was kissing a man. Oh, was he really? That's what it is? Come on. Denzel kissed a dude? No way. Did Denzel really kiss a guy? Oh man. Oh geez. That's like you know, that's a real thing that they talk about with the like humiliation sacrifices or whatever they call it. Like what John Cena had to do. Oh man, I wish I was doing these when John Cena did that. Like he had to like walk out naked at the Oscars. What the hell? Yeah. You guys remember that when John Cena had to like walk out naked in the during the Oscars or something? Like, yeah, he had to do a humiliation ritual. Jesus. Let's Go Brandon podcast. I like that. Oh, okay. Getting a lot of votes for that. Let's Go Brandon podcast. I'm down for that. I think we're gonna do a mock-up of the whatchamacallit, graphic designs for that this week. So glad you guys said that. Who's the main actor in being John Malkovich? Do not know that. All right, I'm seeing a lot of popular support for Let's Go Brand podcast, so I think that's what we'll have to do. Speaking of philanthropy, why was the Columbine shooter's grandparents philanthropist and the California Rajdat director of hunger? What? Speaking of philanthropy, Chaz says, speaking of philanthropy, why was the Columbine shooter's grandparents philanthropists and the Californian Insect Elliot Rogers' dad a director of Hunger Games? It's odd. Yeah, wasn't there something with that? What was it? The guy who like dressed up like the Joker or something and like shot up a theater in the Batman movie? Wasn't there like his dad doing something weird too? Like, didn't he have a weird job like that? We know that Soros shit eaters are the ones causing most of these issues in the country. That being said, Trump needs to go after these scumbags, father and dickhead son. So, question for you guys: do you think that the impact of the Soros money gets diluted by like a good amount, like when the older Soros finally dies? Because like the crazy looking kid, the guy with the glasses, like he's obviously the one that is gonna be running things, I guess. Even though he had a bunch of kids, he's the one who like wants it. Do you think he'll be as effective as Pops, or do you think there'll be like a lesser impact? Do you think he'll screw it up? Because I feel like the second generation is never as good as the first generation. Biden saved my podcast. Thank you. No, I literally was disappointed that he kissed a guy because Denzel's a badass. Like he's like, even though he plays one role and one role only, he's the same person in every role. But like that role that he plays in every movie that he's in is a sick role. Like American Gangster, what the hell else? Man on Fire. Hold on. Training Day. What else? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, there's so many of them. Why am I having trouble thinking of them? What's the football one? Remember the Titans? Yeah, no, like he's the same person in every movie he's in, but he like gets a sick actor. Like he just dominates the attention of the movie. But shit, like he did a freaking gay humiliation ritual. Like, dude, you only had I assumed Denzel was like a 50 Cent type of dude. Like, like 50 Cent is based. 50 Cent gets it. 50 Cent will talk shit about Democrats. I thought Denzel was the same way, but I guess it's kind of career suicide if you do that in Hollywood. That's unfortunate. Oh yeah, the one where John Q. That's what you're thinking of. Yep, John Q. That's a sick movie too. Yep, 100%. No, he's a beast. Like I was actually somewhat considering that, like going to see the new Gladiator too. I'm definitely not now. Like what? Did you hear about the guy at Project Veritas? He was shuffling billions of dollars. I've been watching a lot of their stuff lately, where they have like the undercover dates and stuff. But no, are you talking about the Act Blue thing? Crypto Carpenter? Oh boy, here we go. You guys, somebody wants to fight. So Zaventon says, yeah, PBD. Yeah, not gonna read that, but for Musk, fake Americans everywhere supporting H1Bs. Okay, do you want to have this talk? Down to have this talk. Like without speaking to PBD before even like forming an opinion on this issue, like we were both in the same place, and so when I first saw everybody fighting about this, I like for like a second I sided with like the whole I don't know, Jack Posobiec and Steve Bannon side, and then like I was mad at Vivek for a second for what he said. And I'm like, wait, but so you're saying like you want to like be patient with and train people who like don't have the skills to do something here instead of bringing somebody else like from another country that's better at it right now, like for something that's a matter of national security. Like, no, it seems thick-headed to me. And quite honestly, I don't think that people are like entitled to like have special rights here just because they're born here. Like if you're born here and you have like a lazy, shitty attitude, then I don't think you should be entitled to things that like people that are hungry for success from another place would want to do. Hell yeah. I know they don't deserve the time of day, but like the thing is, I mean, I think that whole H1B visa thing like was like a super successful psyop because like it's really not something that people should be that like passionate about. Like we have a clear defined problem with people coming across the border illegally. Like why are we freaking out about like a small number of people that we were given visas to do work for a short period of time? Like like the it's like unfortunate that we like saw this like large group of people get genuinely pissed off about that. But like I said, I think that that might have been like a super effective bot attack, like a like AI driven bot attack that like we haven't seen before. Because like you used to be able to tell if an account was a bot account because of the way it would say things. But like right now, like with the way that Chat GPT can interact with you and sound like a person, like what could a bot attack look like? And like I saw some serious racist, nasty stuff being said in like a lot of those H1B conversation things. And I'm always just gonna like say what I think. Like I don't care if like that's the position of the far right. Like I'm not gonna like just cater to what people think or whatever. And Pat's the same way, and that's why I love Pat. Like Pat says exactly what he thinks. Like even if it's not what the crowd wants to hear, but I think like this like it was like small like super loud 3% of like the far right saying that stuff, and then people like Steve Bannon are being opportunistic and trying to capitalize on it. What else we got? Yeah, no, 100%. It's like we definitely have to get rid of the situations where people are getting paid less to do something that like somebody used to get paid more. Like somebody where a foreigner gets paid less to do something that American was getting paid more to do. Like that should never be okay. That should never be tolerated. But if there's like a super talented person in another country that could do a job super well, or if they're like the top percentile of that industry, then yeah, we want that person. Like anybody who says that like we should never have immigrants working here, like that's a stupid position. But then people who say we should have a ton of immigrants here, that's also a stupid position. Like that's why I've been independent my whole life because like think about it, the far right says no immigrants ever. The far left says bring all the immigrants. Yeah, like you see the problem. All right, guys, we're at about an hour in. I think we got ourselves a title overwhelmingly, the Let's Go Brandon podcast. So thanks for that. And yeah, I'm on your side too. I think that I'm more in the line of thinking of Shawn Ryan than that guy I showed you. So I'm glad we got that clarified. So I'll read a few more before we go. Funny how during elections everybody on the right was saying they're all for all legal immigration, and now there's I know exactly. I was thinking the same thing. The issue, in my opinion, is that people want to raise the cap, and when corruption is so rampant, just like no, I know. I don't think we should raise the cap either. I think that we should like get rid of all the corruption in it before we even talk about raising the cap. Because and Tom Ellsworth brought up a fantastic point in the podcast the other day. I don't know if you guys saw it, but colleges have basically created the conditions where like they take in less Americans for like like if you want to be mad at colleges, I'll be mad at colleges all day for you because colleges have like screwed Americans every which way. Like they bait us into taking these giant loans and then they like artificially cap like the amount of people that they take in certain classes. Like if anything, colleges should just be expanding their STEM classes, like the number of people they take in their STEM classes, and stop with all the quota bullshit. Like you shouldn't be saying like, oh, sorry, we would love to take this white guy with a 4.0, but we have to take this um like Latina or black person because they have like a 3.2, but we need to fill that quota. Like you should never look at gender or race when you're trying to get the best people into something. Like just literally just look at the numbers of how qualified they are on paper. Yes, college is for idiots unless you're specializing in something like I mean, STEM, fine. Medical, sure. Legal, sure. But like if I don't know, I keep telling my 18-year-old cousin, like, dude, get into sales or like go into trade school. Then you could like start your own trade business in 5 years and make so much more money than you would make from a typical college degree. But yeah, guys, tonight's been real. Thank you all for watching. I love you guys. I think the stream is getting bigger every day, which gets me hyped. I think we could be at 1,000 people live per day, maybe by the end of next week. And that's what it's all about. We're building a sick community here. I'm gonna run for Congress in a couple of years, and literally when I run for Congress, I'm gonna do this every night, and we're gonna talk shit. We're gonna talk shit about all the things that are happening in the congressional floor, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, congressional person so and so did this bullshit today. You believe that? And then we're gonna try to make all that shit go viral and open the door to the House of the people, because Congress is the House of the people. We're not acting like it right now. And I keep saying the biggest way to fight back with all the bullshit that happens in our country is to flood Congress with regular patriots. Right now, it's 95% swamp people, 5% patriots in Congress. We need to flip that. If we have all patriots in Congress, we'd be in a much better direction. So, over the next 5 or 6 years until I get into Congress, we're gonna build this thing to be huge. Value Tainment's gonna be massive by then. We're gonna literally be the national narrative setter in a good way. So I love you all. Please like and subscribe. Please send to your friends, whatever, and all that. Spread the word. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow night. And maybe we'll finally do that episode that I'm talking about if it's not a crazy news day tomorrow. So until next time, goodbye.